What's up, ladies and gents? How is it going? Today, I would like to talk to you about a pressing issue in the Scottish Premiership. Of course, that is the controversial Premiership split. I believe it's time for a change, and I've got an innovative solution inspired by the Belgian Super League that I think would really shake things up and make these matches a lot more meaningful. As you know, the current divide splits teams into two groups of six, with the top six going into championship group, the bottom six going into the relegation group. This leads to a lot of lackluster matches due to the fact that 5th and 6th place don't really have much to play for in the championship group. 7th, 8th, and 9th place don't really have a threat of going down to get relegated. So how can we look at the Belgian Super League to draw inspiration to revamp the Scottish League? Instead of two groups, I propose we split them into three groups. And just like the Belgian League, you get three groups. This will happen after the first phase of 33 matches. You'd have the championship group, which is teams 1 through 4, the Conference League qualifying group, which would be teams 5 through 8, and the relegation group, which would be the bottom 4 teams. Of course, Scotland has 5 European slots up for grabs, so even in that middle group, you would have something to play for. The second key innovation is that you would have the points after the first phase. Now, hear me out. A lot of people might already be. This would intensify the competition by having the points after 33 games, essentially reducing the gaps of all the teams. You may say, but that's not fair. However, one of the key differences is that you'd play everybody 2 times after the split, so you'd have 6 post-split matches instead of what is currently 5. In this new format, every group has something to play for, from top honors to qualification to survival in the Premiership. But how do you ensure fairness and excitement? Now, let me introduce the third major innovation is the concept of home field advantage. Instead of a fixed schedule of home and away, we'll determine home and away fixtures based on pre-split standings. And here's how it would work. The first 3 games of the split would occur in a way that if you played the first round of matches, if you had 2 home games and 1 away game against the team you're playing, the 4th game would proceed as indicated, either away if you've had 1 away game against them, or at home if you had 1 home game against them. The second round of matches post-split would be determined of how you finished in the standings. So, for example, Celtic finishing first in pre-split standings would then have 3 home games against the 3 teams finished below them. Rangers finishing second would have 1 away game against Celtic, 2 home games against Hearts and Kilmarnock, and so on and so forth for all the groups. The 4th place team, of course, would have 3 away games in the second round of post-split fixtures, but they'd have a more realistic chance of creating an upset. So let's see how this proposal will translate in the current season. Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, and Kilmarnock would battle it out for the title in the top tier. St. Mirren, Dundee, Hibs, and Motherwell would fight for Conference League qualification, as there's 5 European spots in Scotland available. And Aberdeen, St. Johnstone, Ross County, and Livingston would battle to avoid relegation. These 6 games would be much more meaningful. The pre-split matches wouldn't be completely meaningless because it would determine your home field advantage, which would be huge in the post-match fixtures. It would add an extra Glasgow Derby match. Everyone would get 1 more match. Nobody would complain about the extra revenue generated from that. And you would have a much more intriguing title race. A 4 or 5 point gap would be reduced to a 2-point gap. In the current standings, we would have 78 points for Celtic divided by 2. You'd have 39 points. Rangers with 75 points pre-split would be 37.5. That would come down to 37, and so on and so forth. If you had a tie for points, the team that had the most points pre-split would have the obvious advantage. So these 6 games post-split, every game would be absolutely crucial. The gaps would be a lot more smaller. Games would be engaging. Teams would be tighter in the standings, and you'd have a much more engaging post-split fixture. Let's create more excitement in the Scottish Premiership. I believe that this will bring more international exposure, as you'll have more chance for an upset. As we all know, Aberdeen was the last team outside of the Big Two to win 40 years ago. But this would give teams a realistic chance of creating upsets after the split. More stories, more teams involved. This will attract more international fans, more neutrals, more investment from outside sources. I believe this will help grow the Scottish game. We will see a very, very exciting post-split fixtures that will be akin to playoffs in North American context, where home field advantage is really crucial. Every game matters, and the intensity is just very, very palpable. So let me know what you think. Is this a terrible idea? Is this a good idea? Would you do something different? Does it need change? Do we go back to just the old structure of a single table? I think that this would help to really improve the game. Let me know your thoughts. Cheers.